What is happening, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Ty, behind the camera, and sitting in front of us is the all-new 2025 Chevrolet Equinox. And this one just so happens to be in the LT trim, which is actually the base trim, no more LS, for 2025. And this also has the Midnight Edition package, so that's pretty cool. We've got lots of blacked out elements and quite a bit of options to check out on this particular car. But throughout this video, we're going to take a look at all of the new features on the exterior. We'll then pop the hood, see what powers it. We'll check out the trunk area and rear seats, and then we'll finally get to the front where the dashboard and all the different screens are. Huge redesign for this Equinox. Not one thing is the same. So let's take a look at what we're working with here. Now, if you're interested to see how the new Equinox drives, I will be driving this particular Equinox in a POV fashion with the GoPro strapped to my head in a completely separate video. So you either wait to the end of this video to click on that, or you can head over to my channel, Ty Drives, to see that as well. Now, up front, we're going to start off with the lighting. We kind of have two segmentations of lighting. So the upper one is all LED, and it's for the daytime running lights as well as the turn signals, which looks pretty good. And then if we take a look down below, we have two more little lightings there. So the kind of larger bulb is for your LED high and low beams, and the one right below is for your fog lamps. So let's take a look at all of that, all illuminated. Looks pretty awesome. I bet you it'd look even better at night. Now, the color we're working with is sterling gray on the outside, beautiful metallic colors, and as you can see, thanks to the Midnight package, full blacked out grille with the black Chevy bow tie. You can even see a camera beneath that for the 360 camera view. And a pretty good looking front end for this car. We have some kind of flat black accents down below and some gray painted accents too. The hood is pretty short, but it's got some nice kind of body lines in there. As you can see, we have lots of plastic moldings on the outsides, or kind of the edges of this vehicle. So around the wheels, down the side, that's kind of to protect your beautiful metallic gray paint. Now, with the Midnight Edition package, we get these very specific wheels. So you can only get these wheels on the Midnight package. And they measure up at 19-inch. They are painted in glossy black and look very nice. And our tires measure up at 235/55. As we can see, the Equinox badging down the side is all blacked out, as well as our mirror covers and roof rails. So pretty cool Midnight package on this car. Now, on our mirrors, you can see we have another set of cameras to either side, again, for that 360 view. And we also have blind spot warning, and you can fold the mirrors in manually. We have smart key entry on both the front door handles. Just tap this little button here to lock or unlock. And we'll take a quick look at the window sticker. Now, again, couple of different packages on this car, deeply tinted glass, so you may not be able to see it, but as far as packages and options we're working with here today, we have the Convenience 2 package. We also have the panoramic roof, safety and technology package, Midnight Edition package, and all of that comes to a total tab of $35,510. So this is basically, again, the base model for 2025, the LT trimmable, but this one has lots and lots of packages and options going along with it. You can see the fuel door is on the driver's side, and our first glance at the kind of rear end of this vehicle, very nice looking tail lamps. I kind of like the combination of red and clear lenses here. Again, all LED units for the tail lights, brake lights, and turn signals. We have a bit more black cladding to kind of save your bumper. As you can see, that black cladding is right there where the trunk opens, so if you kind of miss the trunk lip a little bit with some of your cargo, it won't damage any paint or anything. We have parking sensors in the rear. Our Equinox badge, again, is blacked out. Shows our so is our Chevy bow tie. We have a reversing camera and the trunk release. What do we think of the styling of this new Equinox? I personally think it looks great. Now, before we go any further, I'd like to give a huge thanks to Blaziest Chevrolet in Waterbury, Connecticut, for providing me with their first Equinox, 2025 Equinox that is, for filming. What do you guys think of the styling? Let me know in the comments. Under the hood of the Equinox, we have a 1.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. It's good for 175 horsepower, 203 pound-feet of torque, and that is the only engine option available for the new Equinox. But we do have 2 different drivetrains and 2 different transmissions. So this particular one, interestingly enough, being up here in the Northeast, is front-wheel drive. That means it'll come with a CVT or continuously variable transmission, but the all-wheel drive Equinoxes, yes, all-wheel drive is available, will come with an 8-speed, more conventional transmission. Under the hood, it looks very similar to the last generation of Equinox, although I'm sure they've made a few different tweaks to the engine. It definitely seems a little bit more refined. And we will get an acceleration clip to see how this engine performs out in the real world on our test drive, so make sure you touch on that video as well. Okay, so before we open up the trunk, there's one thing I did fail to mention on the outside of the Equinox LT. Now, we have our backup camera, which I pointed out earlier, but we also have a reverse camera mirror right up here below our third brake light. So let's take a look at the trunk now. Powered trunk lid on this particular Equinox, which is very nice, and it'll open up to a very wide opening, and it really doesn't have much of a tilted rear end design, so you really don't lose any cargo space with this car. Huge opening and wide open space once you get inside to the trunk. Now we have cargo tie downs towards the front, a little spot to put a cargo protector. We also have LED lights to either side of this trunk area, as well as a 12-volt power outlet. So we have little extensions to either side behind each wheel hump, and below the floor we even have some more hidden space. In case you're wondering, there is a spare tire in this vehicle. It is just below that floor there. And of course, you can fold down our seats at a 60-40 split with little handles next to each headrest. Once you're done back here, you can either choose to close it down manually or just press the button. Okay, so our first glance at the interior is going to be with the rear seats, and you can kind of see the color scheme of the interior, which is Artemis Gray. Evotex interior, which is kind of what Chevrolet calls its synthetic leather, and it feels very nice actually. But back to the door, we have this Evotex material with the Artemis Gray color right here where your arm is going to rest. You do have soft touch on pretty much the rest, or hard touch on pretty much the rest of the door, so from up here all the way down, but kind of where it counts is nice and soft. We have our window switch, chrome door handle, a little bit of storage on the top and on the lower part of the door, and we do have 6 speakers for the LT trim. The rear seats look very nice. We have lots of stitching, lots of kind of perforations, and kind of a design for the perforations too. So very nice looking seats in this car. And we could fold down the rear seats with this little latch right here. As you can see, they'll fold down 60-40 like I showed you earlier. And it will match perfectly with the cargo floor, so they do fold down flat. One more thing you can fold down back here is your armrest. So we can fold that down. You have a couple of cup holders. And let's hop in real quick so we can see how much space there is back here. Now I'm 5'10", and just for a frame of reference, I definitely have plenty of room back here. Lots and lots of space. Map pockets on each of the back seats. We have 2 USB-C charging ports, so the faster ones. A couple of air vents, a little bit of storage down below, but take a look at this. Totally flat floor back here, so you'll have no problem with having a third person back here. We have LED lighting and grab handles back here too, and a nice big panoramic roof, as you can see, in conjunction with the headrest. It definitely goes back nice and far for the rear passengers. What do you say we hop up front and check out all the tech? Okay, so the moment we've all been waiting for, the driver's cockpit. Let's take a look at the door first, where materials do improve. So we have some more of that Evotex Artemis Gray material right here, and soft touch right up here all the way down to just about here. So pretty nice use of materials up front. We have some stitching, glossy black, our lock unlock buttons, all of our mirror adjustments and window controls. And we also have the trunk release right down here. Another speaker on the driver's door and a bit more storage for the driver. On the left side, Chevrolet's been killing it with their air vent style. I really like the look of these new air vents on the Equinox. We also have a small array of buttons here which span from the electronic parking brake to your auto start, stop, and auto hold, two functionalities which you can toggle on and off. And you also have your gauge dimmer there. Taking a look down below, we have our hood release, our dead pedal, and our regular pedals, as well as our floor mats that button in nice. And our driver's seat is really nice looking. It's even got some white piping up here, tons and tons of stitching and the perforations like you saw out back. And it is fully powered with two-way lumbar. All right, what do you say we hop in and check out those screens? Okay, so here we are, finally seated in the new Equinox. You get a good look at the style of the dashboard. Huge improvement over the previous generation Equinox, which kind of lacked in quality and style, and this has got it both. So let's start this thing up. We've got the start button right behind the steering wheel here, and we'll take a look at the key really quick. It is the new style Chevrolet key, and it's even got the black bow tie on the key itself. We've got the lock unlock remote start, trunk release or trunk opening, and the panic alarm. And in case you're wondering, there is a physical key. All you need to do is just tap that little button and it'll slide right out. So, what do you say we take a look at this steering wheel first? It's got a really nice thickness to it, and it's an extremely soft leather. So it feels good in the hands, and it's a really attractive looking steering wheel with these kind of 3 spokes here. Even got the black bow tie on the airbag cover. Now, as far as functionalities go, on the steering wheel, we do have all of our cruise control settings here, as well as a little low mode for the transmission. We also have voice commands, your Bluetooth phone controls, heated steering wheel, our music adjustments, and our selections for the screen up top, as well as the different gauge modes too. Now, on the backs of the steering wheel, we do have some further controls. Now, you can see we do have paddle shifters, which will kind of, I guess, adjust the ratios in the CVT transmission, or adjust gears in the 8-speed conventional transmission. Now, we also have some buttons below on the back of the steering wheel. Now, there's an up and a down. That's to change your radio presets. And for the other side, we have an up and down for your audio volume. So that's pretty cool how Chevrolet does that. Now, in back of the steering wheel, we have a couple of stalks that are pretty important. So now this stalk right here will of course control your turn signals, automatic high beams, and all that good stuff, but it'll also control your wipers too. So this button at the end is kind of like a 2-stage button. You press it in for 1 click, it'll quick wipe. If you press it in all the way, that'll be your windshield washers. This will be your speed of your wipers, and then this will be the adjustment for your rear wipers. So a little bit different than on previous Chevrolets, but that is the way they seem to be doing it on the most updated new Chevrolets. Now, right over here is our gear selector. Welcome back to the column shifter. We have a little N button right here for park, but if you wanted to put it into drive, we just push it towards you and down. That's for drive, and up for reverse. Now, once you put it in reverse, your backup camera will pop up with your guidance lines. Now, you also have a bunch of different functions for your reversing camera. This is kind of your top down, which also has guidance lines. So we can also adjust to see the front camera. We can also zoom in to see the front and rear. We can also take a look at the front and rear wheels and kind of toggle on and off your 360 view, as well as some guidance lines informations there. So that's a pretty cool camera system. I figured I'd show you that while we're in reverse, and then once we tap the little button there, it'll put us into park. Now, let's take a look at our fully digital gauge cluster, which does come standard. Awesome looking gauge cluster with a bunch of different views. This kind of basic overview would be how I would set the car up, at least. So in this kind of view, we have our time and temperature, also our date. We have our fuel gauge right over here, our coolant temperature just on the other side, and a big large tachometer front and center with your digital speedometer. We also have some audio information, speed sign warnings, seat belts, what gear we're in, and our distance till empty for the fuel gauge there. Now, if we press this button here, this will adjust our gauge view. So press it once, it will go to our Google Maps, which looks amazing, and it'll also have our speed, distance till empty, and all that good stuff in the corner. Press it once more, we have kind of a driver's assistance screen, so we can see our adaptive cruise control and all that good stuff there. Press it once more, we have a kind of simplified view, so just our speed limit, and our distance till empty with what gear we're in, and it goes right back to that original screen. So very, very nice gauge cluster, and it is pretty much customizable too. You can also adjust some things here, such as your radio stations and things of that nature. Now the upper dash is a nice soft to the touch material, and we also have the safety alert lights, which will project kind of alerts to the windshield, kind of grab your attention. And that brings us down to this all-new touchscreen. Now, Chevrolet's been using this style in a lot of its new vehicles, the Trailblazer, the Trax, even the new Silverado EV, and things like that. A little bit of a smaller application in the Equinox rather than the EVs, but it's definitely no slouch. This thing is still pretty large. And we do have a physical volume knob up here, and this is kind of our home screen here. So we have a bunch of shortcuts to the side for controls, phone, Google Maps, music, and a kind of better looking home screen there, which you can adjust, so you can have your Google Maps here and your radio here if you'd like. Now, one thing I'd really like to point out is some of the shortcuts to this screen. We have this little light icon here, which will adjust your headlights, because there's no actual physical control for your headlights. So something a little bit interesting on the new Equinox. Now, if we go into some of our apps really quick, we have the kind of vehicle information, which has your tire pressures, fluids, and all that good stuff. We have our Google Assistant, Google Play Store, wireless CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, which is awesome. We can also bring up our cameras at any time. We have our Amazon Alexa built in, all of our different settings, so once you get the car home, you can really customize the vehicle to your personal preferences. We also have our climate, which you can access, but there is a full set of climate controls physical down below. We have our audio screen here, which of course we have all of our different sources, and once we select one, we can see that what's playing is right over here. We have a nice album cover. Our presets will be at the bottom, and you can change sources nice and quickly. We also have our Google Maps, which is pretty cool. You can set it up once you get your vehicle. We have our phone screen and our controls, which are a couple of notable features within our controls. So a couple of things that you can do without going in here, but there's a couple of things that you can't. Now, a couple of things that you can't do without going in here is turning off your traction control, your automatic high beams, and your fog lights. So interesting choice on the fog lights. I wish there was a control, like a physical control, to turn on your fog lights, but it is within these controls here. Now we have a couple of other things, such as your power liftgate height, some lighting controls, and also traction control, lane keeping assist, all that good stuff that you can turn on and off. But that's basically your general overview of this touchscreen. Very easy to get used to. You have shortcuts everywhere, and you still have a physical volume knob, which is good. And at this point, let's take a look at our physical climate controls here. So we have two zones, so dual zone climate control. We also have a big array of buttons, pretty much buttons for everything, which is good. We have an on-off for the whole system. We also have the AC controls, where you want the air to blow, your circulating, and your defrosters. We have heated seats up top for both sides, automatic climate control. Also your sync button and your two up and down for the fan speed. Now down here is kind of your phone charging area. So we have the USB-C and also regular USB with a little pad right down here. And we also have a wireless charging pad for your phone, so it'll kind of sit sideways right down there and charge up for you. A little bit of glossy black, which will be hard to keep clean, as well as your kind of climate controls, but there's lots and lots of cars coming out with glossy black nowadays, so it's kind of unavoidable. But we do have a little pocket right here which you could put pencils, pens, spare change, things like that, and some cup holders. Nice material here for that Artemis color. Evo checks, and our center console is actually pretty large, and it's even got illumination in there and a little storage tray that you can remove. On the left of the dash, we have some pretty cool looking parts, kind of this metal trim here with some kind of design in it, so look, little dimples in there, which looks pretty cool. Nice air vent again, and pretty large glove box once you open that up, kind of like a bin style. We do have a full black headliner up here, which is very nice looking. We also have visors with our mirrors and lights, sunglass holder, and all of our controls for the panoramic roof. So let me open up that shade so we can see what it looks like. Now while we're up here, let's discuss our OnStar and SOS controls, as well as our hazard lights are up here too. And we also have some tap illumination up top for either side, so our reading lights. And at this point, the sunroof shade is completely open, so you can see it lets lots of light in and definitely airs up this cabin quite nicely. So the center button is for the shade, and we also have another button for the slide and tilt of the front portion of the sunroof. Now our mirror looks very nice, and there's not a whole lot of blind spots in this vehicle. As you can see, there is a pretty sizable window back here, and the mirror does a good job of filling up the rear window. But this isn't just a mirror, it's a camera mirror. Take a look at that. You can see all the cars that are behind us, and there's also some adjustments for brightness, zooming, and height. So that's pretty cool. And with that being said, that pretty much does it for all of the features on the 2025 Equinox. Again, huge upgrade from the previous generation. What do you say you catch us on the test drive? Make sure you click that link below so that you could see our test drive on the new Equinox. And make sure you stick with us here at Ty Drives for more videos in the future just like this one.